Welcome to the Women in the Businesses They Own, where we sit down with women who lead with purpose, resilience, and heart, both in business and in life. I'm your host, Sherry Hooper, and today's conversation is one you won't want to rush through. I am joined by Amy Todd, a business owner, naturopathic doctor, and certified a natural health professional. Amy's work sits at the intersection of education, healing, and entrepreneurship, and she does it while navigating motherhood and marriage and the realities of running a business with integrity. So, Amy, I'm so glad that you're here with me today. And please just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself personally, and then add a little bit of that professional inspiration.
All right, Sherry, thank you so much for having me. I am Amy Todd, naturopath in Grand Rapids, Michigan. My business is Roots to Wellness, and I've been just into natural health for a really long time. I grew up being really active, playing sports in high school, and I knew that coming home from school, having a sleeve of saltines with some Mountain Dew didn't really get me really feeling good for that basketball practice or volleyball practice. So I started to really get more interested in nutrition in like college. And then just I've been doing just natural health for a really long time. We had health struggles when I was early in my marriage, raising kids. We had health struggles, and I just felt like things weren't getting resolved with natural or with Western medicine. So I kind of took it upon myself to like really dig deep, like where, and it's always, where are things happening? Why is it happening? I always like to ask why. Why? And so I've always, why am I not feeling good? Why am I not sleeping good? Why, those things have always been in the forefront of of my, of my life. Um, I, that kind of got me down the road. My daughter had some health challenges, and that's when I really started to, um, go down this naturopathic world because I had a doctor who said would look at the labs and say, "Oh yeah, everything looks great, everything's fine." I'm like, "You're not living with my daughter. Everything's not fine." And I found some answers with a doctor that looked at more holistically from head to toe, and my daughter started to get well pretty quick. So I was like, "I need to know how all this works." And so I worked with her and mentored under her for about 7.5 years, and then I got my naturopathic certification during that time, and I have a degree in health science and biology from Hope, so I had a pretty good foundation of, the body before that, but I learned so much more about um, how the body works naturally and how it heals naturally and how it wants to heal. And so after 7.5 years of mentoring under this doctor, I felt like I could do this in a way that could be more affordable for people, more sustainable for people, because I just saw that people were kind of struggling financially with some of the things that we were doing. And I was like, I'm going to do this simply with nutrition, herbal remedies, and working with the mind body connection. So I've been doing that for a while. So I started my own business about 5 years ago. I started slowly. I worked in the office and then I worked for myself. It was during COVID, I remember painting my basement, getting a little space for myself. So I saw people at my home and worked part-time at that place, worked for myself, and just slowly built up. And now I have my own office in downtown Grand Rapids, and I see about 25 clients a week, and I'm really hoping to make an impact with people. And I feel people are getting well and getting more balanced in their life, getting less, less stress in their life, understanding how their whole body works from head to toe with nutrition. And so that's where I've been for the last 5 years, is just kind of developing my my business slowly over time, and just allowing the process to happen. I do work with a mentor, and it's been really great to have some guidance. So just slowly following some of those rules in business and how to help my clients is really like working and putting in the effort to help clients is my number one thing. It's like when you put your effort into helping them, they start to help themselves. So I hope
I
I
love
answered
that.
all that. I
Yeah.
hope I answered all
Yeah.
that questions.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's perfect. I love that. Yeah. I think if I understood what you just said, the last thing was helping your clients help themselves, because ultimately, if they're not willing to put in a little bit of the information or some research or asking good questions or at least
Yeah.
following through with what you might say,
Yeah.
then obviously that's not going to be helpful. And a lot of times when we have conversations with people about natural health, they always listen politely and then they never do it. It frustrates me
Yes.
sometimes. I'm like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, they're so not going to do it.
Yeah. Luckily, I find that most people, by the time they get to me, they're willing to put in the effort
Yes.
because what they've done through like Western medicine or pharmaceuticals has not gotten them to where they need to be. So I'm more of a guide, an educator, and they're the ones that are obviously doing the work. But it's really fun to see some of the progress because they are getting the results. They're more motivated to continue. So it's pretty exciting.
I think it's nice too because obviously your credentials matter, your experience matters. So like you said, by the time you're giving the advice, you're like, oh yeah, she knows what she's speaking of, right? So tell me more
Yeah.
about your mentor though, because I hear this so much when I'm talking with different business owners and the mentor plays a really big role. Tell me a little bit. Sounds like you worked under your mentor. Is that the same person that you're speaking of?
Two different people,
Oh,
but
two
the,
different
for
people.
the
Okay, share
yeah,
share a little bit more.
yeah. So the first 7.5 years when I first started getting into this, I worked for a physician, and she was a great mentor. Um, but then I found that I needed to move on and kind of develop my own way, and that's where I found a mentor. And his name is Dan Young. He's a naturopath in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and he kind of really taught me some more of the fine tuning and the fundamentals of my practice. And he and his family have formulated herbal remedies for the last 30 years. So it's a wonderful protocol. There's like wonderful protocols, and he really helps me understand like when you help people, that's really the heart of your business is helping people. So
Sure.
when people start to get well, they just start to feel better. They share their experience with their friends and family. And he taught me that, doing things more affordably is more sustainable for people. So I try to keep all my protocols and follow-ups at a lower cost. Because once people start to get into natural health, it's usually a process and not a one-time event. So getting
Right.
well can take time. And so I help people, to work that it could take 6 to 8 months to a year to get well. So I work in an affordable way and he's been a really great help for me to understand that and not try to get, I know a lot of people will charge exorbitant amounts just for initial appointment. And I offer a complimentary appointment because really what I'm doing is just educating people on a new way and a new perspective. And he's taught me how to change my perspective on, how to help people and what they need, what they're looking for. And generally it's just some of that guidance and new perspective on how the body can heal. And so a lot of people when they come to me, they, this is new. They're kind of at their last straw of, they've been to this specialist or that specialist. And when they come to me, they're like, this is kind of the last ditch effort sometimes. And I try to educate them and show them, a different way.
You're always everybody's last ditch effort. Is that true?
Not always, but some people they've been to, different specialists or they've gone to Ann Arbor or
Yes.
Cleveland
Yep.
Clinic or Mayo Clinic and,
Right.
not getting the answers that they're looking for. And then I kind of teach them like what is really happening in the body. Why do we have these chronic illnesses? Why do we have chronic pain, sleep issues, digestive issues? And generally it's coming from some sort of underlying infection, food sensitivity, stress, emotional stress, things like that. And so I address like the whole picture of like where, what is the root cause?
Well, after going to everybody else, when they get to you as what they might call their last ditch effort, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But still, when they start seeing results, that has to feel
It,
so good for you
it
because
does.
you're the one that's been able to help them along the way the most. And I think education is really important because they can understand why things have been happening. They're not just
Yeah,
getting, here's another prescription, or go,
right,
I think too
right.
easily that's what they get with Western medicine
Yes.
is another
Yeah.
prescription and
Yep.
instead of the education of Well, this is, you might have to have some really prying or vulnerable questions a lot of time to
Yeah,
get to that root issue. When it
right.
comes to nutrition, what are they drinking or not drinking? Are they exercising, not
Yep.
exercising?
Yep.
Sometimes it's something that is not even in the place that hurts. I think there's
Exactly.
a lot of questions I have to really, and people are like, why are you asking me this?
Yes.
But the
Yes.
education helps them gain confidence and then the understanding. And so, that's the thing when it's your information and you're telling them, it could take 3, 6 months, 9 months, a year to fully get better. But obviously they're starting to feel better along the way for
Exactly.
them to continue,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely. Yes. People will start to feel results within a couple weeks, but sometimes there's what's called a healing cycle. So you may go through a healing cycle that's 1 to 3 months, and then there's another layer. So another 1 to 3 months. And so if somebody's had chronic issues for, 20 years,
Yeah,
that is not going to resolve in 6 months. So a
right.
lot of times within the first 6 to 8 weeks, we'll get some resolution, but then after it's about a month for every year you've been chronically ill after that. So it can take like if you've been sick for 2 years, it can take or 20 years, it can take about 2 years. So it's really peeling back layers of health. Um, when I see things like it may be things just kind of, well, I use muscle testing. So muscle testing is a process that your body will give me the information through the nervous system, and it's only going to reveal what it wants to reveal as the priority at that time. So, in the first couple months, it's going to be one thing, and then it might reveal something else. So we have to keep checking in. Generally, it's not some dramatic major change that we have to make, but it's just kind of just peeling through those layers and working over time to get healing. And it takes time. I don't tell people to change, like go home, change your diet completely tonight. That would never work. So I just say slowly start to see where we can make some of these changes. Where are you eating? Look for those hidden sugars. What are some of the things that you can change? Can you make a change like instead of a Coke or Diet Coke, could you have some water with lemon? Just start to incorporate these things slowly over time because you'll make better choices than doing it dramatically overnight. And that people won't like me very much if I tell them to
Right,
go,
right. And then they'll
change
just
your
binge.
yeah, yeah. So slowly making those changes over time it gets better results.
So the mentor that you mentioned too, he had a protocol. Is the protocol like the business setup, it sounds like, or is the protocol
It's
something like a product?
it's actually both.
Okay.
He formulates the herbal remedies. So his family has been formulating herbal remedies for 30 years, and then he runs what's called Practice Blueprint. And I did work in the office for 7.5 years, so I knew a lot about how to run the business. But
Mhm.
he helps practitioners formulate their business, kind of gives them the outline. And so that's really nice. I did have a lot of experience in an office already, but it was really nice. Like he helps you with how to do the waiver forms, um, you know, a lot of different forms. We've got
Obviously, the
waivers.
pricing you had mentioned too, which
Yeah,
some
pricing.
people get so used to using insurance cards, and that's not always the way that you can do that with naturopath,
Exactly.
natural
Yeah.
remedies. It's more out of pocket. So it sounds like he's made that, worked with you on that being really affordable. Tell me
Yeah.
about the products. Is it oils or what are the natural remedies?
So the herbal remedies that we
Herbal,
use
excuse
there,
me.
yeah, I do use some oil, like essential oils as well, but herbal remedies, they come in a 2 ounce dropper like this.
Okay.
And
Yep.
so they're formulated by dry herbs and then actually alcohol. So in this case, it's actually vodka, but you put it in they put it in a big gallon jar with the herbs. The recipes are from a herbal school out in Oregon, Dr. Christopher's Herbal School. So they have those recipes. They select different herbs and then they put it in the alcohol solution and then they let them sit and they shake them up. They let them sit for a number of months and then they filter it off and then they put it into 2 ounce bottles and those are we put those in water. So people would
Okay.
just put 2 droppers in water and I have herbal remedies from anything from pain, sinuses, sleep, nerves, parasites, yeast, bacteria, viruses. A lot of them are just broad spectrum, and they're not only just they're healing, they're concentrated nutrients. So a lot of plants have all the nutrients that we need to heal our body. So these are like concentrated nutrients. And so it's very, it's old fashioned, which I love. It's kind of like
Yeah.
old school. So they're super effective. And so they're blended herbs. So a lot of these have, this one has about 6 different herbs in there. And
Okay.
so they're kind of all, it's all formulated for a
That's what I was
certain.
going to ask you. Like, what would be the active plant ingredient for one that you said something like parasites? What would
Okay,
be
so
like a
yeah, so
parasite
for
one?
parasites, there's like wormwood,
Okay.
garlic, geez, that kind of puts me on the spot because they're just blended perfectly. And so, but
Yeah, no,
there's,
that's okay. That's okay. That's a
yeah,
couple of them
black
that would
wal
be in there, but that makes sense.
yeah,
Okay.
black walnut hulls, garlic. Garlic's in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Cayenne pepper is in a lot
Oh,
of them.
love it.
Ginger. Um, there's a lot of different ones. So I'm not super specific on
Yeah.
exactly every plant, but they're all been formulated they've had
For
recipes for
each of the
years.
different ones. Have you
Hmm.
gone to Oregon? Have you seen their facilities?
I have gone to Cheyenne, Wyoming, where they're
Oh,
made,
Wyoming.
and
Oh, okay.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, so they're made and they're just they're handmade.
Okay.
So they're in a little lab. It's very small, but they can crank out quite a few of the remedies. And so they take them, they're in these big jars. They go in, they mix them up every couple days. They actually say positive thoughts because whenever
Oh,
we
I
have
love it.
positive thoughts, yep, it gives good energy to those. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and so 2 ladies make them, and they're just wonderful. Um, they're healing properties.
On your website, do you, and go ahead and tell our listeners what your website is. And then can they get some of these oils or do they have to see you or how does that work?
Yes. Yeah. So my website is www.rootstowellnessgr.com.
Okay.
And yes, my herbal remedies you just can't get them off the website. And I don't sell them on the website. You have to see me first. I have
Okay.
to, yeah. There's I put together certain protocols according to what your body needs. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome. I'm assuming you're accepting new patients.
I do. Accept new patients and new clients. Generally, I book out about probably 3 weeks now, but yes, I can see new patients because I have patients who get well and leave my practice, or I see them I see current clients about every 3 to 4 weeks, and
Okay.
then once patients get more stable,
Yeah.
then it's like 6 to 8 weeks, or every like 4 times a year. So I like to see people at least 4 times a year when they get more stable.
Mhm.
When people get more stable, they can go longer without having certain reactions to things, like maybe certain reactions to food or certain reactions to stress. And so once we get real stable, then I like to see them 3 to 4 times a year because there's natural times during the calendar year that are more stressful than others. So like the holidays, high sugar, high alcohol,
Of
high
course.
high family stress. Then even like winter, we've kind of had a serious flu season this
Yeah.
whole winter. Um, Temperature change, weather changes can be, kind of stressful on the body. Loss of a loved one, that can be stressful. That's one of the
Oh,
most stressful things that people
sure.
experience. So anytime there's some, emotional component that comes up, or going back to school is always kind of a stressful time for parents, and that can be hard. So during the calendar year, there's different times that I recommend people, check in with me before things get too off the rails. So that's kind of, once we get stable. But a lot of people just check in with me once a month since they've been chronically ill. My follow-ups are only 40, so that's
Okay.
like a copay.
Sure.
And so and then if they have supplement needs, I have those here, but I try to keep them, reasonably priced, and I use practitioner grade supplements. So I know that they're really high quality. Um, and a lot of people will go to Amazon or things like that to
Right.
get things,
Right.
but generally I find that they're not formulated that well. A lot of supplements like on Instagram, they're highly marketed and they look great, but they just might not be the best. So I use really great practitioner grade supplements. So they get absorbed well, so they're going to function well in the body. So so they may be a little bit more expensive, but they're generally going to be better.
Better for you.
Better, yeah, better for you.
Let's go back a little bit to you said you went to Hope. So
Uh-huh.
I have a son that's at Calvin. So I always think, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
some fun rivals
Good
there.
rivalry,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, but they're both great local schools, so they do tend to get a lot of our family members or students here in the area.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you went to Hope, though, it sounds like your degree, you got a bachelor's degree in, was it, tell me again what your degree was.
Yes. So my degree was in biology and I have a degree in health science. So the health science side was more like kinesiology, nutrition, stress management. And then the biology was just a lot of it was like, physical biology.
And then you said that you kind of did went that path because of your own questions and eating because of being in sports. So when you
Yeah,
chose to do that, I mean, it just kind of seems just profoundly perfect, like that there
I
was this
know.
plan in place that you would start in that area. Now, when you graduated, where did you end up working or did you stay home or what happened there for those years?
So actually, so when I graduated Hope, I started working at Nutrisystem Weight Loss Center. So I was kind of a
Okay.
nutritional coach then. And then that closed. And then I started working at a pharmacy as a pharmacy tech. That was in the mid 90s. And I got a real interested in going into pharmacy school. So I
Okay.
started taking classes for pharmacy school and I got on the waiting list at Ferris and I ended up being fourth on the waiting list. And
Oh,
then they changed the prerequisites and I was like, "Oh, I'm done." So I ended up selling pharmaceuticals for a little while and then when I had kids, I went part-time and then I was a stay-at-home mom for a while. And that's when my kids were 2 and 4, I ended up getting strep throat 8 times in 6 months.
oh,
I had this chronic strep and it was awful. So I was sick for a lot of it
yeah.
when my kids were 2 and 4, and I ended up getting my tonsils out, but it took me about a year to recover. And then when my daughter was in third grade, she ended up having a lot of health issues and anxiety, digestive issues, and by the time she was in eighth grade, chronic, like she couldn't get past 11 o'clock in school. She'd have panic attacks. I'd have to pick her up. She was super high anxiety. And then, people were telling me, well, that's how kids are now. They have anxiety. And it was really kind of crazy. And she ended up getting some asthma, and the nurse told me that's just what kids get. And I was
Oh,
like,
no.
no, 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 no. So I really started to go down the natural health, like where does this all begin? It does start with nutrition, like what we put in our body and how our body responds to our environment is really what sets off our health.
Mhm.
So it's the food we eat and the emotional component in our environment is how our body responds to that in a healthy way. So my daughter ended up getting bullied in third grade. And I think
Oh,
that was the start of her digestive issues, her anxiety and things like that. And me thinking, just telling her, oh, don't worry about it, make new friends. And I kind of, didn't validate her as much as I should have. And so, that emotional component I now know is a super strong part of where our health comes from. So, it wasn't until 10th grade that I found this doctor. I took her to other doctors and they maybe helped for a little bit, but I ended up taking her to the doctor that I ended up working for in town.
oh, good.
And she diagnosed her with Lyme disease. and she started to get healed pretty quickly. So now, I was so grateful to help her with all, working with the natural substances, with nutrition changes, herbal remedies, and so I'm like, I want to help people get, she was getting well so quickly. I was like, I need to know how this works because I want to be able to share it with people because it was amazing. So that's why I do what I do to help people, get better.
Well, so your tonsils, now that you've had them out, can you think back and just to think maybe that could have been different, or what was it your own
Yeah.
self? Was it just high stress with a 2 and a 4-year-old, or
Yeah, so I had a lot of allergies growing up. I was sick a lot growing up. So I think it started when I was young. I missed a lot of school. And then I think, yeah, the stress, we may have had some mold in our home, so
Mhm.
that was a
Yeah.
part of it maybe. But yeah, my kids were 2 and 4, so it was stressful. Um, I didn't work at the time, and I'm not sure if that was the best for me because I think working is a really I love working and
Right?
I just feeling productive and I just when you stay home mom is I would say is the greatest job, the hardest job.
The hardest job.
The hardest job. But then I did start working when they were in high school, and I thought it was really good. It was a good lesson for them to see me working, and things like that. So yeah, I think I would have, I don't know what I would have done different, but I wish I knew what I know now back
No,
then,
now.
I guess.
Well, it's
Yeah.
just the whole thing of being sick for so long when you know that you could
Yeah.
ultimately maybe just wrap that right up, like just snip that
Yeah,
right.
I know I know now what I would have done, but I didn't know
Yes.
that back then. So
So is your daughter, I mean, is Lyme disease curable then?
it can go back into remission. And so
Okay.
this was all happening when she was in high school, 16, 17. She's 27 now. She's doing amazing. She lives in New York City, works in New York City. And so she has put herself in stressful situations with finishing her degree and living in New York. And
Wow.
she has done great. So
Okay.
she has to be pretty strict with her diet. Some of that creates a lot of inflammation for her. Like, so if she doesn't stick to a dairy-free or gluten-free diet, she does get a lot of inflammation in the brains. So that can bring on some depression or anxiety or
Okay.
fatigue. And so that can hold her back. But so she has to stay pretty anti-inflammatory in her diet, which we all should. So she knows how to take care of herself now because she again would
Hmm.
not take care of herself and see the results. So she does amazing now.
How about your son? How old is he? Older or younger?
He's younger. He's 2 years younger, and
Okay.
he does really well. He lives in Madison, Wisconsin, so he's on his own there, and he has never really had the health challenges in the family like I have or my daughter has. But I think a lot of it, again, I bring up the emotional component. He is a much more mellow
Mm.
kid. Things don't really phase him, where my daughter was very high strung, really hard on herself with her schoolwork, overachiever. And so my son, I think he saw that and knew to like not do that because yeah, so he does really well.
Well, as a mom, then, how does that feel? Like both of your kids are not even in Michigan.
I
That like just
know, I
tugs at
know,
my heart. Are you
I
okay?
know. We text and talk a lot. We see him, yeah, we only see him like 4 times a year, really,
Yeah.
in person because of the distance. But we do talk a lot, and we're always texting, so we're still really close. But
Yeah.
as a mom, it is pretty hard.
It is hard that they're not in your home anymore. You don't know when they come home at night. You're not
I
thinking of
know.
yourself. That is a hard thing, I think, probably for every mom to maybe get over that hump initially.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's not great once you get past the the
Yeah.
hump, but
Yeah.
it's always a
Yeah.
transition.
Yeah, and we raised them to fly the nest, so
Yeah.
I feel good about it, but they are pretty far away. My daughter does want to come back to Michigan.
Oh, that'd be
She's
great.
yeah, she does want to come back. And I think son talks about moving to Chicago, which would be a little bit closer, but um, Madison is really nice. It's just kind of like Michigan, but just over there.
Right across the lake. It's just across the
Just
lake.
across the lake. Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about you and your husband? You guys have been married how many years?
We've been married 31 years.
That's
Yeah.
phenomenal. And it sounds like he's
Yeah.
very supportive of you having this business. Um,
Yeah.
did you ever have a time when you were transitioning maybe from those Western medicine thoughts to the naturopath? Was there any resistance or issues? Because it seems like in your family, everything has been very somewhat easy in terms of support and
Yeah, it
working
has.
and what have you. How about in the real
Yeah.
world?
Yeah, actually, because we weren't getting those answers and we saw some of the results from the natural health, it was pretty easy with little resistance. Um, because we wanted to do the best for our daughter and our own health. So it wasn't immediate. It wasn't over time. Like we changed the diet, but then we're like, oh, maybe we should tweak things a little bit more. And yes, we are vegan, so no animal products and gluten free, which it can be difficult, but it's amazing. My mother-in-law, who she makes us one meal a week, and she's got a cookbook that we've given her, and she will cook vegan gluten-free meals, and like our holidays are vegan gluten-free. And there was a little resistance at first, but because it is kind of a major change. But now I think we've all, like my mother, she's a two-time colon cancer survivor, and she eats very anti-inflammatory now. She's 84, and she
Wow.
has come to see, some of the improvements in her health that her diet changes have made. So she's like, okay, and she never really resisted. She knew that what we were doing like was what we thought was for the best for our family. And so they've kind of all come along on board.
That's really amazing. And
It
it goes
is.
to that mama's heart again, right? She's making a meal a week for you because I know she just wants to help. She just wants to do something for
She's,
you.
I know, she's amazing. She's such a helper. And
Yeah.
because my husband changed jobs recently where he used to work at home for 15 years and now he has to go to Kalamazoo. So early mornings out of the house, late nights, and then I'm working. And my husband used to cook almost every night. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. And so now that he's out of the house, my mother-in-law is like, I'll make you a meal. And it's a super blessing. So I'm super grateful.
Well, that's awesome. I love that in family. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn a little bit here and go back to you helping other people. You're seeing 25 patients a week. They all come in with their different emotions and chronic pains. And how do you protect your own self or protect your own health?
Yeah, so that's a really good question because I do believe like there is an energy transfer when we are with people. And so, and I think that's really important. So I have like little rituals that I do here. Actually I do touch people when I'm doing muscle testing. I'll touch their arm and I'll touch a body point. And so there is an energy transfer. So when I when a client leaves, I immediately wash my hands. That's the first thing, and then I clean my room, and it's sort of that's my kind of ritual to like help clean the energy out. And so I have plants in my office that helps clean the energy. I drink a lot of water. I'm really conscious of my like good nutrition. I do sometimes I'll do like a little sage spray in my room. But generally, when clients leave, their energy is actually better. So sometimes they'll come in with their energy is kind of flagging. And I think just with our conversation and I give them hope and, positive energy back. And so generally when they leave, their energy is a lot better. And I don't feel like there's much sticky energy, but I make sure to like keep my nutrition good, my sleep good, exercise, so important. And just I am conscious of the energy.
So if you can get bad energy from them, then I would think, and I think I heard you just say that you can actually, in touching them, you can actually give them good energy and positive energy. I think that
Absolutely.
would be a little draining for you. So obviously you're giving all your good stuff, so you've got to regenerate.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I just am conscious of like taking care of myself, making sure that I'm taking breaks. we just got back from vacation, so my week is a little bit more demanding this week, just catching up with people. So I do have to watch out with working too much, getting burned out. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I
How
do
was the
have to.
vacation? Does that actually, or what do you do on vacation? I mean, is it part of just really doing nothing and that's good? Or is it more
Generally,
positive energy? Are you out there in nature, grounding,
yeah,
sunshine?
so we like to go skiing. So
Oh,
we were skiing, and so being out in nature, being really active, really helps get the mind off everything else. So we love to just be outside. We like to sail, and we like to I love paddleboarding, bike riding, skiing, things like that. So anything out in nature.
okay.
Generally, we're not a sit on the beach kind of couple, which I think maybe that would be nice sometimes, but generally we're active, and I love just
Yeah.
seeing the sights and things like that.
How about I've heard a lot of people, because as you were talking about being outside or grounding,
Hmm.
do you talk to your client, your patients about frequencies? I hear a lot
Yes.
of good things because when you're in nature, there are some really high frequency type places, and it can help with moods or emotions and different things like that as well.
Yeah, so everything has a frequency. So the herbal remedies that I use are very high frequency. Essential oils are very high frequency. The food we eat is high frequency. So everything is a frequency. So I don't talk about it in specific terms, but that is how the body, it really needs those high frequency things to heal. So yeah, everything is a frequency. So nature. Getting in nature is really important. Getting sun is really important. Um, the words you say to yourself. So I really like to have people listen to positive podcasts, music, really uplifting music, whatever, meditating, something to help raise your energy. So I think that that's really important.
Do you self-talk your like every morning? Is that part of a routine that you
Oh
help like
yeah.
just self-talk?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I do. I listen to some meditations online,
Okay.
on YouTube, and yeah, self-talk and is very, very important. So I journal a lot. Um, yeah, I listen to different audiobooks generally that are super positive and uplifting because I feel I wouldn't be where I am without that.
Okay.
That's yeah, it's super important. The way that you talk to yourself is really important.
Yeah. Well, I definitely see this. You have this, what do I want to say? Contagious smile
Oh,
and
thanks.
this glow about you. So I can definitely see that everything is working perfectly for you. So,
Thanks.
so, uh, would it be like a balance? What is an honest balance that you are able to do yourself in order to help other clients? Maybe, I mean, because you just said sometimes you could work too much, or maybe you vacation more often, or you get
Yeah.
outside, you exercise. And so throw it all together. What would you say is your balance routine to be your best self?
Okay, so I go to bed early. That's really
Oh, I'm
important
out
part of
now. I'm just out right now. Stop. No,
So,
okay, keep going.
okay, so going to bed early for me, um, eating really anti-inflammatory, again, limiting sugar, inflammatory foods like dairy. That's one of the most highly inflammatory food for people. Um, let's see, exercising. I go to the gym 3 times a week at least. I try to, that's kind of a minimum that I feel. Um, so yeah, just making sure that my body's able to do the work that I can do every day. I feel like I've lifting weights and going to the gym gives me the endurance to work an 8 hour, 9 hour day. So I feel that's really important. And then nutritionally, I eat a lot. I do, when I have my clients, they do a 3-day food log,
Yeah.
and most of my clients don't eat enough. And then they complain about poor energy and things like that. So I feel like I'm kind of constantly eating something. Like I'm
Okay.
snacking, like I had a clementine earlier this morning. I wake up, I have oatmeal, This morning I had oatmeal, and then I make a smoothie for like my mid-morning. And then just before the podcast, so I had a little brain fuel. I had a clementine. And then after this, I'll have lunch, and then I have an afternoon snack, and then I have dinner. So I'm constantly energizing, putting
Yeah,
energy into my body. So I feel that's really important. I feel a lot of people don't eat enough. It's unfortunate because we live in this diet-centered culture where have to be concerned about our weight, but I feel like eating more of the right foods actually can energize your body and increase your metabolism. So we're,
makes sense.
yeah, so there's this.
How about fasting? Is fasting good for you? And do you put that into your year or month or something ever?
I do once in a while. Fasting can be really hard on the body because it is another stress on the body. So I don't recommend it to too many of my clients because they're already under a lot of stress, either like work or financial or emotional stress. And then just adding that on top of it can be an extra stress on itself. And the body, doesn't like that. So it can
Sure,
create
no,
more,
that makes
so it
sense.
can create more cortisol, and so it can throw things out of balance. So fasting is is kind of a quandary for me
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's not
So
for everyone.
I think I generally just I probably like, let's see, I eat early dinner, and I probably fast like 13 hours just naturally, but doing that constantly for people isn't always recommended, especially for women who are heading into menopause. That
Yeah.
can be an added stress on their body. So it's
Okay. Well, so you
yeah.
said you go to bed early, so you probably stop eating fairly early, like you said. So you're
Yeah.
getting 13 hours at least through the nighttime. And I hear that's so often good
Yeah.
for you to
Yep.
stop eating like around
Yes.
what, 8 or 7 or something before the night.
Yeah, I probably I end up, yeah, 7 o'clock, I would say at the latest, if you're going to go to bed by 9 or 10. So about 3 hours before you go to sleep. Yeah.
If we go back to your balance routine, because I might have kind of taken you down a
Yeah.
different path, but your self-talk is obviously part of it that you do. Do you do a
Hmm.
gratitude? I heard you say a little bit, so that's what's making me think maybe you
Yes.
do a gratitude journal or something.
That's part of my meditation in the morning is
Okay.
just gratitude and just soaking that all in, just being,
Yeah.
yeah, just everything is about gratitude and how you can really change your mindset by, the small things, concentrating on the small things. Sometimes it's just like, what am I thankful for? It's like my soft socks and my pajamas or something. It doesn't have to
Right.
be, oh, I went on this major trip and I'm super grateful. It's just really being grateful for like the small, small things in life.
Yeah, I get that. Is faith a part of your life at all? Is there a balance of faith in there as too? I'm really digging in, like, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
listeners, is that part of where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't think we would be here without some sort of higher power. So my faith is, yeah, I think that's the spirituality is really important because I believe in a higher power, God,
Hmm.
and everything. So that's what I'm really grateful for is when I think that, I wouldn't be here without my faith. Um, yeah, so it is super important to me.
Yeah. And as a lot of that goes right into for me, like that meditation, the gratefulness and that
Yeah.
faith. Yeah, I think a lot
Yeah.
of it is. And so that's kind of your whole balance right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And as a business owner, every day I have to have faith that it's going to work, that I'm going to
Excellent.
help people, that I'm doing the right thing, and just concentrating on like, okay, everything's going to work out, everything's going to be okay. And so using that faith, I wouldn't be here without it.
That's awesome. Would you say that going into business for yourself and the journey that you had, I mean, a lot of it seems very faith inspired. I can
Hmm.
kind of see how from early on you're choosing the right things and I mean, sometimes you might not feel that way, but looking back,
Yeah.
it's easier to see the
Yeah.
right degrees, the right jobs along the way, helping your daughter, and now where you are today. It seems from this short conversation of your entire life. It seems
Yeah.
very organic and easy. Would you say that things were fairly easy or natural or organic in getting where you are today, or was there some sort of Was there frustration? Was there concern? Was there a little stress on your part? I mean, because here you are. I
Yeah.
can only see the end
Yeah.
result and it looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. So, I guess I just had to step out in faith when I saw like what I wanted to do. And I was 46 or 47 at the time when I got my board certification. And I didn't, I had to look at, some of my family friends in my life. When I was growing up, I had a friend whose mom went to law school when we were in high school. So she was in her late 40s, early 50s probably. And so I'm like, okay, she did that. I could do that. It's not too late.
Yeah,
Even if I don't have a 30-year career, I could still make a difference. So I just you know, yeah, I knew it was going to take some time. I knew that starting out in my business, I kind of knew where I wanted to be, but you just can't get there overnight. And so
right.
I always kind of visualize what I want, what I wanted to look like, and you can't just get there overnight. So I always just was, taking those small steps forward to keep doing what I was doing, and I kept visualizing. I think visualizing is a really important part of getting your goals made.
That is really important. So I love to be able to see that too. And they always say, like, when you have a plan and you write it down, I mean, it's even that type of a visualization, not just in your mind, but when you
Yeah,
see it and it's
yeah,
part of that routine. I love that too.
yeah.
Well, so looking back, what would you tell the women? I mean, because you actually saw a high school friend's mom do this and knew that, I mean, I hope you told her at some point
Yeah,
because that was a different type of mentoring, but she inspired you just you didn't even know it at the time, but fast forward, you're like, well, she did it, so I can do it. So
yeah.
what would you tell women today? I mean, going back to the very beginning of the journey, before degrees and confidence, before the business work, what would you tell women, about moving forward? How can we inspire someone else?
So I would say like just get a vision of what you want your life to look like. I think that's the first step is like get a vision and then start to make some steps towards that vision and continue to, I always did vision boards. I always did journaling about what I wanted. And so, yeah, looking back, it looks like I kind of like, I described my life, but you have to,
Easy breezy.
yeah, just like that. But it took a lot of, it took a lot of, changes. I worked in a place about 2 years ago that didn't work out for me, but now it's actually worked out for the better. So just kind of keep moving along, even through some of the hard times. The hard times are going to show you a new direction, and just keep plugging along. I think you just have to keep that vision alive and maybe get some help along the way, like a mentor, and just yeah, keep moving along.
I love that. That's a great way for us to transition. So I just want
Yeah.
to speak to our listeners. If this conversation does resonate with you, please take a moment to like and share and even leave a review. I would love to see those comments. Because really it's these stories of these women that I just love to share and to be able to know that we don't just get to the end result. There are definitely, as you mentioned, Amy, there are definitely things along the way that can create curveballs or a fork in the road. And I truly believe every one of those brings us closer to the end and helps us become better for
Yeah,
having gone through those trials as well as the good things that we get. So
absolutely.
yeah, so now we're going to do the lightning round. Now these are questions
Okay.
that I didn't, ahead of time to
Yeah.
say, but they're just fun and easy. So the first one, just answer as quickly as you can. It's just meant to be just like zip, zip, zip. That's all I call it, the lightning round. But the first one is are you I think I know this one already because you said it, but do you like the digital aspect of calendars or do you like to be able to have a paper type planner? What,
Well, I have both. I
okay.
love my phone. I love Google Calendar, but then I have Passion Planner, so I have
Okay.
to write it down.
You have to have
So
both. Well,
sometimes I have to write even the most simple thing down,
Yeah.
in order for it to get done. So,
Fair enough.
yeah,
Fair enough. Okay. Next one is, what's one boundary that changed your life?
going to bed early.
Ugh, there's that one again.
Yeah, darn.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay. So have you ever cried in your car or just cried in a moment on your own? Just let it out. Can you think?
Absolutely. I will, like, on the journey with my daughter getting to this point, I would just scream out, "Help me! God help me."
Yeah.
And things started to unfold. Like one time, that's how I got my job the first
Yeah.
time with the doctor. I just screamed out, "Help me." Yeah.
Amazing. When
Yeah.
you're at your weakest or most vulnerable, because
Yes.
I tell it, if anything in life would take me to that moment, it would be my kids too. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, as
Yeah.
moms, that is the worst
Yeah.
feeling to not be able to help. And you're,
Yeah.
but you did it in the end, God, in that you were able to do that. Oh, thank
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
If your business had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? That one might be tough. Depends on if you
Oh,
like
I don't
music.
know. I don't know.
Okay, skip that one. How about
Yes.
retire early or work forever?
Probably work forever. Yeah, I'm not a sitter. I'm not yeah, I feel like, maybe work a little less
Yep.
and semi-retire, but I feel like my husband and I both have we have friends already that are talking about retirement and we're
Oh,
like, what?
what?
Yeah. I feel like
No,
this is my purpose of my life. So I feel like I'll just be
that's probably the
incorporating.
difference, though, too. Some people truly have jobs, but when
Yeah.
you are serving and you know that you have purpose and you're helping, then
Yeah.
then there's, that fills your bucket and it creates positive
Yeah.
energy and what have you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what's something women don't talk enough about in business?
Oh, geez, probably the difficulties and overcoming those difficulties, um, and maybe giving up too soon.
Yeah, just we
Yeah.
expect to be Wonder Woman, right? And trying to
Yeah.
do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's a
yeah,
good
maybe
one.
not asking for help or, um, you know,
Yeah, I understand that.
yeah.
How about what's one thing you said you'd never do, but now always do? Is there
Oh,
anything
gosh.
like that?
Well, I have learned in my life to never say never and never say forever.
Oh,
So,
that's true.
yeah. So,
Never say never. I mean, I even just said that before because you get caught every time.
yeah.
As
Yep.
soon as you, and
Yep.
I think it comes back so much sooner too. As soon as you do it,
Yeah.
you're like,
Like, oh, I would never do that. And then you end up doing it.
I
Yeah.
think
So you
that
can't say that.
can't say that. Can't say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so before we wrap up, I just wanted to pause and share one thing that, Amy, that you had said today that really stayed with me. And there's so many things,
Oh,
but I just like
thanks.
to end the podcast with one thing. And I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. Well, no, actually, I changed my mind. I was taking a little bit of notes because I did like where you had said, you can help people help themselves. But recently, as we are closing this podcast, you just said, we all have to take small steps forward and we really need to visualize, and I don't think that just means when we're starting a business. I just think it's really good for us in any goal that we have, and
Yeah.
and that's for people to do that. And I know that I always refer back to a verse, and I don't know if it's Habakkuk 2:2, where it just says, to visualize a plan or to put it down, you have to write the vision and have that
Hmm.
plan. And I always like to go back to that as well. And I love all the things
Hmm.
that you said, vision boards and what have you. So,
Yeah.
anyway, as we close, Amy, thank you for sharing your time and your story and your wisdom today. And you showed us
Oh,
what it really looks like to lead with intention. I think that is phenomenal. And today, I just want to remind our listeners that you shared your story, and today you said it beautifully.
oh,
And
thank you.
and you came and you spoke and you inspired. And we'll see you all next time.
Thank you so much.